I was going to get a drink before I started. Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. So, tonight's video is all about strikers. Celtic have been linked with a young Italian striker. Celtic inquire about an under-21 Giuseppe Ambrosini. I can do my Italian pronunciations, no problem. Giuseppe Ambrosini is an under-21 international for Italy. He's been linked and he's seemingly interested in a move to Celtic. It would be a loan to buy, which has got the Scottish media. It's got the Scottish media got their pants in a twist already.
Celtic.
It does have the Scottish media, and one person in general is Keith Jackson, and I can understand where they're coming from. Keith Jackson says that he doesn't think that Ambrosini fits Celtic's plans, and whilst the reports are emerging that Celtic are looking to take him on loan with an option to buy, he says, where does he fit in, Keith Jackson? Keith Jackson loves to have a dig at Celtic, and he loves to talk down Celtic. Me, on the other hand, as a Celtic fan, love to talk up Celtic, and I have spoken about the transformation of the Celtic policy within the transfer market over the last couple of videos and the last couple of days, and I'm kind of seeing where Celtic are heading with bringing these younger players in. Now, yes, we may need a more experienced type of striker. I get that. So the question for the live poll tonight was, do we need another striker at Celtic? Are Maeda and Adam Maeda good enough with a third young player? Now, if Maeda is your number one striker going into the season, Celtic will hopefully give him a new contract that will keep Dyson at the club a lot longer than the 2 years than he has. Adam Maeda is on a long-term contract. I expect Adam Maeda, my target for Adam Maeda this season is 25 goals. He scored 20 goals last season. Between Adam Maeda and Dyson Maeda, they scored 50 goals between them, 53 goals. So if Celtic are keeping a hold of Dyson Maeda and Adam Maeda, with the young player that's already came into Celtic, Callum Osmond, and then if we do bring in the boy from Napoli, Giuseppe Ambrosini, it's got a ring to it, isn't it? It does have a ring to it. Giuseppe at Celtic. It's just got a little ring to it. But anyway, he's interested in coming to. Of course he would be. He's a young guy. He's at Napoli. He's not getting into the Napoli team. He turned heads at the under-21 championships. He can score goals. He's been with Napoli since the age of 10. But with just 12 months remaining on his contract, Napoli don't see him, and Napoli are going through what Celtic are going through. Napoli either lose the player for nothing at the end of the year. They either go through what Celtic are going through and they lose the young guy for absolutely nothing, or they loan him out to Celtic with an option to buy, and they get some money in for the guy. And I think that it's a easy way for Celtic to go down, and I think that it's a good thing for Celtic. But I understand where a lot of fans are saying. So the question was, do we need another striker at Celtic, or Dyson Maeda and Adam Maeda good enough with a third young player as backup? As it stands, 73% have said yes, 27% have said no, 27% have said no. Now I understand where they're coming from, but is Dyson Maeda a better striker than Kyogo Furuhashi? And I think that we'd all say yes. I think we would all say yes. Strange in an Italian going to Scotland. It's usually the other way around. Irishman in Porto. It is at the moment, isn't it? It is at the moment. It could be a good thing though. It could be a good thing, and it still goes. I still think that Frank McAvenny has been saying, look, Celtic don't need to go out and spend money. Now, I can understand where McAvenny is coming from, and McAvenny saying, look, give Dyson Maeda the striker shot. Give him the starting berth as striker, and he'll score a bucket load of goals for you. But at Celtic, we need different points of attack. We need to mix it up a bit, because having Maeda, whilst he has a bit of pace, he's not exactly Kyogo Furuhashi style. He's not exactly Dyson Maeda style going through the middle, is he? So if we can get the crosses into the box, Maeda is going to score them all day long, and he'll get 25 goals. I'm still standing by Maeda. And I made a prediction that Maeda would score 20 goals last season. He did that. I made a prediction that he would score 10 goals on the half season that he came to Celtic on loan. And he did that because he scored 10 goals in half the season at Norwich. So that was my thinking behind it. I think that he can go one better this year. And I think that he can score at least 25 goals. But we do need a different option. Do you know, something to mix it up, because let's face it, we all know that Celtic under Brendan Rodgers have got pretty easy to work out. And over the last 2 seasons, people have decided, and other teams have decided, look, if we just sit in, this team doesn't know how to get past us. If we sit right in front of the 18-yard box, they don't know how to get past us. So we do need something different. Is one of the young boys coming through the system the answer? Is Callum Osman the answer? Is the young Italian the answer? But where do they all fit in? If we are in the market to spend a lot of money on a striker, it's then what happens to Osman and what happens to the young boy. I still think there's going to be a massive change of formation. Maeda is not a striker. He's used as a striker. We are short-staffed. But he's used as a striker. He is used as a striker when it comes to the Japanese national team. When he plays for Japan, he plays through the middle as striker. It's only at Celtic that we play him as a winger. When he played in Japan, he played as a striker all day long. So it's an interesting one. At the moment, we have 4 at the club, says Brown Warrior. Yeah, that's too. It is. We've got 4 at the club. So what is the plans? To me, it says formation change. To me, I think that Brendan Rodgers is on the cusp of going for a 3-5-2. I don't think it'll be a 3-5-2. I think there maybe be a 3-2, a 4-2-3-1 scenario. But then there's still too many strikers at the club. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting one. The fact that we're going after Giuseppe Ambrosini and he's keen on a move, it'll be interesting to see how that one works out. Napoli, he's been at Napoli since the age of 10, with just 12 months remaining on his contract. If there's only 12 months remaining on his contract, why would they get him on loan with an option to buy? Obviously, there's a fee that would have to be paid, but I suppose it guarantees, unless Celtic are planning on taking him a 6-month loan, a loan until Christmas, with an option to buy at the January transfer window. That's the bigger probability, because they may think that, whether you like it or not, Celtic will maybe say to Dyson Maeda, look, we know that there's interest in you, we know that you're going into the final 2 years, but can you stay? Brendan Rodgers has maybe said, can you stay for the Champions League campaign? If we don't replace Dyson Maeda for a top class striker, one that can hit the ground running and score 25 to 30 goals in a season, one that can give Maeda a run for his money, because any new striker that comes into the club has to find his feet, and I suppose it's over the next 3 weeks. It's we need to get the bodies in, really. So anyway, do we need another striker at Celtic, or is Maeda? good enough with a third young player? It's just one question. It's not two. It's not two questions. I can see the chats went downhill already. Time to switch the chat off and just fire straight into. Do you believe that Keith Jackson? I don't believe a word that Keith Jackson. And for Celtic sites to quote him, I wouldn't be quoting Keith. No, I suppose I have, but I've only quoted him because a Celtic channel has quoted him. Anyway, the Napoli guy, will Celtic get him in? Luke McCown has been. He's said that the bench has been amazing. The players that are coming in to Celtic have been amazing. I noticed that Luke McCown's getting a lot of activity when it comes to speaking to the media. Is that Brendan Rodgers showing that Luke McCown, as he is a more senior member of the staff, from a Scottish perspective, the fact that he's been here a year now, is it the fact that they're putting him out there to talk to the media, one, to give Callum McGregor a break, and two, to keep them away from Kieran Tierney, because once the media gets their hands on Kieran Tierney, they're just going to fire all sorts of questions at him, aren't they? And I think that it's good that Celtic have refrained from putting Kieran Tierney in front of the media just yet, because you're going to get all sorts of questions. Why did you not go to this club? Why did you not go to another club? It's going to be negative. Rather than talking the positive that the player decided to come back to Celtic, and that the deal was done away back in December last year. The media are just going to, the first interview with Kieran Tierney is, why did you come back, and who did you turn down to come to Celtic, and why did you turn the other teams down? So Brendan Rodgers is well within his right, and I think it's good man and management. Fantastic. Anyway, Gustav Lagerbielke has been spotted wearing the Braga kit. Celtic will take the £2 million hit on the player. He's as Braga fly out to a training camp. So he's with them already. And he's at the airport with Braga. That's how quick these deals happen. I mean, I don't believe that the Gustav Lagerbielke, he was in training at Celtic Park. He come back into training last week, and he obviously knew that there was something going on in the background. He comes in, he works away, as anyone does in their job, known fine well. Probably come in, say his goodbyes, pack up his locker, and then that's him. He's off. Pictured at the airport with the Braga team and the Braga training gear, and they've all got matching red trainers. That's just unbelievable. That's just unbelievable. But anyway, good luck. I wonder when Celtic are going to finally announce it then, because I mean, there he is. I mean, I'll put the picture up. I mean, he has been. There's obviously the team are away to a training camp. Let's put this up here. So the deal's obviously done, but Celtic still haven't made an official announcement. Where's the picture? Where is he? Where is he? There it's there. So there he is, heading off to a training camp with Braga. Interesting, and Celtic have still made no announcement whatsoever. Let's jump into some of these comments. Brown Warrior, take a part-time job and approach whoever you owe for agreed reduction in payment. What? No idea what you're talking about. Should just stay. What are you talking about? Well, we lasted long in the comments. It's been over 115 votes. Do we need another striker at Celtic, or are Adam Ida and Dyson Maeda good enough with a third player? 70% are say yes, we don't need another striker. Porto Airport, by the looks of it. Yeah, it does look like Porto Airport. Wonder where they're going to. Anyway, good luck to Gustav Lagerbielke. Fantastic player, and I thought that he was one that you're talking to Sligo boy. Yeah, I know. I'm just, I jump into the comments, see the last 5, and then just jump straight back out again. Baz, did you see the secret clause that Norwich found to get Mateus cheap? No, I didn't. I've been out. Let me just jump on that. I don't think it was a secret. I mean, was it? Do you think so? Norwich discovered a release clause, but Celtic knew the release clause that no other club knew about. Quite a coup. And an embarrassment for other clubs who've been negotiating with Brøndby. I find it hard that Norwich would discover a secret clause in his contract to release him for that amount of money when Celtic had been in talks with him. I mean, Anthony Joseph knows his stuff. You always get some guy, highly doubt this, highly doubt it, and then you get a Hun, the fucking commenting, what a load of bollocks. Oh Jesus, you gotta love Celtic fans. You gotta love Celtic fans. That's all I'm saying to that, Michelle. I've just read through something. Can we transfer board members? No, we can't. The club is a complete biscuit tin. Secret clause. Remember, Celtic had Santa Claus. He delivered the trophy to us one summer. But anyway, that was an old one. The Balwiska deal seems to be getting close. I still think that we are going to lose Dyson Maeda this summer. The way that we're going for wingers. I mean, it's saying that Celtic have been in. I think that Celtic could announce the Balwiska deal this week. I've just got a funny feeling. I mean, the fact that we've brought in Benji, maybe it says that we're going to get rid of Yang and Louis Palma, and all we're doing is bringing in replacements for them. But then you've still got, if these are coming in to make first team, I still think that Celtic are going after these players because they think there is a possibility that we could lose Dyson Maeda. I'm just saying, Michelle, you've got to think. I mean, the fact that Dyson is it's his contract situation. It is his contract situation with Maeda that is the issue. His contract runs out on the 31st of May 2027, and the current valuation is €15 million on transfer market for Dyson Maeda, and it would make sense. Do you know? I mean, clubs are going to come in and test the water. They've already done. Fenerbahce's come in and tested the water with a low bid, which means that all that's done is it's shown to every other club out there, right? Celtic are going to accept under £10 million for the player. So we know the valuation is going to be 20 plus, 25 million. But they'll leave that to the later end of the transfer window, because the longer they leave it into the transfer window, they will know that Celtic will then have a player that's entering into the second last year of his contract. Do Celtic then hold off to try and persuade Dyson to take over a contract extension? Will Dyson take the contract extension, or will his agent play hardball and say, no, there's teams out there that are going to pay big bucks for you, mate. I just think that it is one of these ones. Probability of transfer to Fenerbahce on transfer market. Celtic have told them it will take £21 million. So, I mean, Celtic have come out and if they have set a price, if they've set a price tag on Dyson, Spurs have been sniffing about. Yeah, they were sniffing about beforehand. Yay, Gus Fitzsimmons is in the house. He's been a member of the channel for 6 months. Celtic will want at least 30 million. That's the benchmark. Brown Warrior, they won't want 30 million. If they've come out and said they won't want, he's not worth. I'm going to tell you why he's not worth 30 million, because he doesn't have as long a contract as what Jota had, for instance, when we sold Jota. We sold Jota, he still had 4 years. The price is determined by the length of contract that's left on Celtic, and he only has 2 years left on his contract. Now, the fact that he's only got that 2 years left on his contract puts him in the, I would say, the 15 to 20 million. Celtic are pushing it to the £21 million bracket. They will know that they can expect to try and push it to the 25 million. They're maybe hoping for a kind of bidding war. Other clubs will be like, let's just hold off. He's back with the team tonight. I'll tell you why, Vaz. There isn't another chance. There's not another Dyson Maeda in football right now. I think there is. I mean, if you look at, there's players that are better than him. Way better. Quality. Is he up there? Is he? I mean, quality is a factor. Is he up there? Mowolski would be a good sign, and Celtic aren't going to go down that road. They're not going to go down that road, bringing in Mowolski and spending 5 million on him. Bawishka rumoured to be signing for us. Dave Morton, I said that about, how long have I been on? I said that about 18 minutes ago, that deal was looking as if it was going to go through. We are undervaluing Maeda at 25 million, said Big Des. You've got to take your green tinted specs off. I mean, as much as I'm a Celtic fan as anyone else, he's not, because of the contract situation. If Celtic had signed him up if Celtic had got to Christmas in the last transfer window and said to Dyson, we're going to give you a wage increase and we're going to give you an extra year on your contract, his agent will sit and go, we're thinking about a move because we think that he's at the age you can get one big last payday. And Celtic will go, right, that's fine. We'll put a clause into the contract that will sell him for 25 to 30 million. Deal. Let's shake hands with it. Let's give him the wage increase. But Celtic don't do that, do they? Celtic don't protect themselves that way. I mean, we could talk about the whole scenario with Greg Taylor. I mean, Greg Taylor was worth 8 million to Celtic at one time, and we screwed that up. I think that Celtic are on. They will know that he is a player that has a value, but Celtic are not going. If we sell him for 25 million, 30 million, we're not going out and spending £20 million on a striker. Not a chance. So why are we demanding such high prices for our striker when we're going to go out and get a replacement? And this is why I think that Celtic are going down a completely different format with their transfer policy. And it's not that much a change of a format, but it's a case of, if we see a player that is worth 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million, is get them in. If there's a player that's got 6 months left on his contract and we've got a chance to get him on the cheap, get him in. because that's what European clubs do. They buy players in at a decent. I mean, look at the old situation with Hendry that was at Celtic. We buy him from Dundee for buttons. We sell him for buttons, and then he gets sold for 10, 12 million. Anyway, we've got better with David Murray up front. Big signing will come once we qualify for the Champions League. Wilson QW, that's too late. If we're going to go down that road, we'd be as well giving it up, because waiting for the pot of gold is the way that Celtic have failed with that scenario time and time again. Celtic have failed with that scenario. They've failed to get into the Champions League on so many occasions because they've waited and waited and waited to get the players in once we qualify. It's like, if we qualify, we'll spend 5, 6, 10 million pounds on players. But if we don't qualify, you're not going to spend that money. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I know it's the Celtic way, but we need another striker since we let Kyogo go. Says Perry, yeah, we do need. Do we need another striker, or are we going down the route of bringing in wingers to make sure that the strikers get the best possible service? Because the more service your strikers can get, the more goals the striker will score. And if the better the quality of the service coming in for the wingers, there's more chance that the wingers can then add to their goal tally as well. Interesting. Josh says this will be Brendan's last season. The club, he hasn't changed. He can't take the club forward anymore due to the board's lack of ambition. Do you think he can't take the club any further? Do you not think that the club are going through a period of change in the background? I think they are. I think that transfer policy has changed. I think that reading between the lines and seeing the transfer activity that's taking part at the moment, I'm just trying to see. If Dyson Maeda has another quality season, he's worth 30 to 35 million. But no, if he doesn't have the length of contract, he's not worth that money, because the valuation on any player's contract is only worth the length of contract he's got. The valuation of any player is only worth what his contract is. It's the modern game. Brendan Rodgers took us further in the Champions League. He did that, and I think 3 strikers, Maeda, Adam Ida, the Italian, and Kenny and Osmond. Johnny Kenny will be loaned out, Wex. Johnny Kenny will be loaned out. I think I'm still standing by that Celtic will add 1 year's contract onto Johnny Kenny, and then they'll loan him out to a club to bring him back to Celtic. Going for players that are in their last year of contract. Yeah, I know, but that's... We've moaned about the fact that we've lost so many players from the B team and from the academy. Is this the case that we're just building the... Here's a question for you. Are Celtic just building the asset base back up? Because we've lost a lot of assets for next to nothing over the last couple of years that we could have got good money for. Do you know, there's a lot of players that have left Celtic that we could have got really good money for. And it's maybe a case now that Celtic are thinking, right, let's just get these players in. Let's look at the whole situation with the squad. We need the main core of a squad that's going to win us the league, that's going to do well in the Champions League, that's going to push on all 4 fronts. Do you know, that's going to win the treble for James Forrest in his last year. That's going to try and get us over that next phase. But the worry for me is when you go into the Champions League, you need players that have played at a high level of European football, because they're going to come up the best, they're going to come up against some of the best players in Europe. Now, if we don't have the squad capable of competing at a European level, everything else fails. But at the same time, we have to build the nucleus of a club that will surpass this season, that will surpass next season. And maybe Brendan Rodgers and the backroom staff and Paul Tisdale, and I don't think that this will be Brendan Rodgers' last year. I think that he will sign an extension to his contract, because I think somebody, who was it that said in the chat? Sell Hassati instead and get the full use of Dyson. It was Dave Morton says, Baz, we'll never get another world-class manager at Celtic because they want to spend big at Celtic, and Celtic can't afford and won't do that. So that plays into Brendan Rodgers' hands then. So for the people saying that Brendan Rodgers, this will be his last season, for all the reasons that they're saying that Brendan Rodgers won't stay at Celtic, are actually reasons for him to stay at Celtic and for the board to push the boat out and make sure he stays at Celtic. Because the board, if we go down another route of another manager in a year's time, right, let's look at it from a business point of view. If you go down to, if a year's time, Brendan Rodgers leaves the club, doesn't sign a new contract, we bring a new manager in, he has a different way of thinking, he has a different way of playing. It comes in. Remember, you're going to have to bring a manager in that, one, doesn't want to bring in a massive backroom staff, two, that's happy with the current backroom staff, three, that's happy with the way that Celtic are financially run as a club and the transfer policy. And that's a lot of things to get together to find that one specific person that fits. I think we got lucky with Ange Postecoglou. We've got to say we got lucky, because we chased the current Newcastle manager for the best part of 6 months. And he couldn't get the deal over the line because he wanted his own staff. And his own staff were in different positions, and they were like, no, I'm not leaving the job that I'm in to come to Celtic. We got lucky with Ange Postecoglou because Ange said, I just want to bring myself. I'll bring myself to the club. Is there anyone else out there that can fulfill that quota of questions, that can work within the budget that Celtic have and make them better, that can deal in the transfer market, bring in current players for the first team squad as well as the academy, and build the academy up and make it better? And then, are they going to be happy at Celtic? And I think it opens up a whole load of questions that the board will ask themselves. So for everything that you're saying about, no, this is Brendan Rodgers last year, I don't think it is. I think that Celtic, I think if he does sign an extension, it'll be a 1 or 2 year deal, and that'll be him after that. But I don't want to look past it. I want to just get on with this season. If that's the case, then Baz, why aren't they pushing the boat out to keep him? Because apart from Kieran Tierney and Benji, these guys aren't exciting him. I think Brendan wants a bit more. Josh, I think that it's Brendan and the backroom staff that are bringing all these players in. You've got to look at the bigger picture, why we're bringing these players in. Brendan Rodgers come out and said when Inamura signed, he's not going to be part of the first team. So the media should then say, well, why did you buy him? Well, it's part of the Celtic model, it's part of the business model, it's part of what we're doing going forward. There's a lot of stuff going on that we're not privy to, and that they're not going to tell us. Do you know, there's a lot of stuff going on at the club behind the scenes that, do you know, we've no idea what they're planning. And I think that that's the reason that Brendan Rodgers will sign the new contract. This is Rodgers' chance to take Celtic further. He will get the cash and spend. If he doesn't get the cash on the Sky and tell everyone the board won't spend. No, I still think, why ask so many questions? Relax, at Celtic. Yeah, I know it is. And it's the Celtic way, isn't it? Everyone really knows what Celtic's budget is, so why they're so secretive. I don't think Celtic ever set out and say that we're only going to spend 10 million, 15 million, 20 million on transfers in a season. Do you know? And Brendan Rodgers has said that. And especially when it came down to last season, and we spent the best part of 30 million. Rodgers is a snake. I can tell you this, Brendan and co are going for these players. Look at previous years with the duds. Yes, exactly. Yes, we've spent big so far. We haven't spent big so far, but we've been linked to definitely an upgrade. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, mate. There's a bigger picture going on at Celtic. If the boards don't back Rodgers, he'll be gone end of season. I don't think so. I think that it'll be another case of Brendan Rodgers getting to the end of this season. And you know what? It would be so Brendan Rodgers like for him to turn around and get to the end of the season and go, it's been a fantastic season, we've won the treble, we've done well in the Champions League, and for all those doubters out there, I'll see you at the beginning of the pre-season, and then just sign off like that. You know, it is the way. I get what you're saying, but supposedly we've got targets. Why aren't they in the door? Going for guys that probably want to play in the team. It's pretty simple. Pay the money. Yeah, but maybe sometimes clubs come in with a mindset that Celtic, they're a profitable club. Well, there's what we think the valuation of the player is, and Celtic go, well, that's not what you said to an agent that was actually working for us on our behalf, that actually made the inquiry to the club before we got in contact with you. Do you know, there's a lot of things go on. There's a lot of sneaky things that go on within football that it's not direct from a club sometimes. It can be done through intermediaries and to find out what the valuation of the club, of a player is. And the intermediary will not tell them what club he's actually asking for. So the club can come out and say, well, the player's worth this. And then 2 weeks later, Celtic come and say, right, how much is the player? And they go, well, he's worth this. And the valuation is maybe about 4 or 5 million more. And Celtic go, well, we know you're talking shite. Because 2 weeks ago, you said he was only worth this. That's just the way modern football, isn't it? Well, Baz is correct. I feel more comfortable simply panicking. I'm not correct. I'm just voicing an opinion. It's called the One Celtic Fans View, and I try to get as many of the opinions on the channel as I can. The midfield is soft. Sevco bullied us. Yes, they did. Hence the reason that I think that we're still trying to. I expect James McCarthy to play a big role next season. Celtic never actually announced that McCarthy had left the building, did they? They never said that James McCarthy has left Celtic. They never put out that tweet that he's left the club. They never did anything. He just disappeared. The league was done. Was the league done though? I mean, I know that they beat us, but you want to go into those games. Gary, I'm going to take you back a season before when Brendan Rodgers did his motivational speeches, and he said, this is the time that we turn up, this is Celtic time, you know, we've got a trophy to play for. We fucked up at the beginning of the season, we missed out on the Premier Sports Cup, we want to win the Scottish Cup, we're finishing on a high, we're going to beat everyone in our sights. That never happened last season. The season kind of petered out. Do you know, where was... He never managed to get... And this is where Brendan Rodgers is maybe going, do you know what, we need a clear out, because some of the players at Celtic just can't get motivated enough to know for what it is to play for Celtic. They've got too comfortable. They've got too comfortable in their own shorts. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I said, when you've got players like Nico Kuhn, do you know, like Dyson Maeda, like Rio Hatate, that were all comfortable, all first choice picks. You know, when Kyogo was playing, he knew that if he had a bad game, it's only Adam Maeda that's on the bench. It wasn't really pushing them. And then if Kyogo had a run of bad games, he would sit on the bench but he knew he was coming on in the 60-minute mark. He knew the script. You know, that's not competition. Maybe what Brendan Rodgers is doing is bringing in real quality and a level of younger players that are going, do you know what? You're no position safe. Last season, too many players thought that the position was safe on the club and safe on the pitch, and they got a bit lazy. And I think Brendan Rodgers realised that. Do you know, he knew that the players that were on the bench just weren't pushing the guys that are on the first team enough. And he knew that the squad maybe wasn't big enough to be pushing. Do you know, maybe he does want 3 players for every position. Maybe, I don't know. You don't know. Anyway, I need 8 votes before I close the poll. Do we need another striker at Celtic, or are Dyson Maeda and Adam Maeda good enough with one of the third young players? 72% are saying yes, and 28% are saying no. I hope this poll doesn't come to bite us on the bum. Give Johnny Kenny a chance. Game time, he'll come good. It's going to be interesting to see what happens the next couple of weeks with Johnny Kenny. I still think that Celtic will give him a new contract and loan him out. Maeda is perfect for Celtic FC, but not a direct striker. It's an interesting one. Jordan Larsson, he was never coming to Celtic. Never coming to Celtic. Looks like Brendan Rodgers has spoken to the Irish media in Ireland tonight. Brendan Rodgers takes on Cork City tomorrow, and Brendan Rodgers said that he played Gaelic and hurling. He wasn't so good at hurling. Adam Maeda, Liam Scales and Johnny Kenny may see some action tomorrow night at Cork Park, but Brendan Rodgers has ruled out Kieran Tierney being involved with the game at all, so it looks like he doesn't help. The match itself has sold over 30,000 tickets. I know a couple of guys that have flown over from Spain for that game as well. Brendan Rodgers says, we were in training on Saturday. I was at a wedding in the evening, Brendan Rodgers said. I met some Dublin guys who weren't so happy. They filled me on how they took a bit of a beating. What are you talking about, Brendan? And then he goes on to talk about that he followed Gaelic and hurling when he was younger. Well, you're in Ireland, I suppose. Irish fans may get the chance to see Adam Maeda, Liam Scales and Johnny Kenny in action, although the Celtic boss has admitted international players that only returned to training last Friday are likely to be given a week before they're thrown back into action, ruling out Kieran Tierney and a few others. Brendan Rodgers went talking about Johnny Kenny. He went on, he says, I've been really pleased for Johnny since I've seen him since January and seen him close up. I think he has improved and developed. I spoke to Johnny, funnily enough, this morning, just talking about his plan. We would like to see him sign another deal at Celtic. Breaking news, Brendan Rodgers has said tonight in Ireland that they want to see Johnny Kenny sign another deal at Celtic. So that's breaking news tonight, Celtic fans. Johnny Kenny says, Brendan Rodgers said, I spoke to him this morning, we would really like him to sign another deal at Celtic, and then we will decide what's going to be the best way to develop him, whether it's to stay or where we think he needs another step out. He's got a lot of strengths and a lot of qualities. He's done well since he came back in January. It's important as part of our preparation for sure. Yeah, so that's basically it. So the breaking news tonight is Brendan Rodgers has spoke to Johnny Kenny, and he wants Johnny Kenny to sign a new extended contract with Celtic before they decide what is going to happen with him. It's another Daniel Cummins situation at Celtic. It's one of those ones, if you don't sign a contract between now and December, if you don't sign a contract this summer, and we don't see you signing the contract before December, you're basically gone. You put out on loan and you finished your contract. As shocking as that may sound, it has happened with Celtic so many times over the last couple of years. But Johnny Kenny, being Irish and going through the journey that he's went, will Johnny Kenny sign a new contract to go out on loan? Just more spin while he's in Ireland. Celtic fan says missing out on Mateus for 6.9 million is let's bring back Mickey Johnson for the shits and giggles since Flamengo fans don't want him. Oh, Michelle. Anyway, over on 205 votes. Let's finish the poll for the evening. Let's end the poll. Johnny Kenny to Motherwell for the season. Only if he signs a new contract. I don't think that Celtic will send him out on loan if he doesn't sign a new contract. I mean, there you have it. Brendan has spoken to the media tonight in Ireland, and this is his exact words. I've been pleased for Johnny since I've seen him in January. He's improved and I think he's developed. I spoke to him this morning talking about his plan. I would really like to see him sign another deal for Celtic, and then we'll decide what's going to be the best to develop him, whether it's to stay or whether we think he needs another step to go out on loan. It's in Johnny Kenny's hands. It is in Johnny Kenny's hands. That is, well, I'm going to end the video on that night. Kenny to Motherwell, Miller to Celtic. Could happen. And will he sign that contract extension with Celtic? It's a big decision, and I just hope that he's got an agent that isn't the same as the agents that has been dealing with the likes of Daniel Cummins and such. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for tonight. I think that's a fantastic way to end the video. The fact that Johnny Kenny, Celtic want him to sign a new contract. I have speculated that I thought that is what would happen. Get him on an extended contract, get him out on loan whilst we bring in a couple of younger players to develop, and then bring back Johnny Kenny as Adam Ida's full-time replacement. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.